Today we are going to talk about whether or not Justin Fields made the right decision in transferring to Ohio State and what impact this has on Oklahoma, Georgia, and of course Ohio State, and all that's coming up after the bumper.
What do you mean you don't subscribe to my son's YouTube channel?
Mama, no!
Just snap the damn ball, RJ.
What's up, kinfolk? It's RJ Young. I am not on a step mill. Consider hitting the like and subscribe button because I upload a video every single day. It's always OU related, college football related, sports related. We have a good time, and today we're going to talk about Justin Fields, who reportedly is not only transferring to Ohio State, he plans to enroll on Monday to start classes there. I know that a lot of folks were watching the Sugar Bowl and watching Jake Fromm lay an egg against a very good Texas Longhorns defense, and then Texas won the day. Sam Hargy-Ellinger got to say we're back, which is going to be memeable. We appreciate him for that. But Texas defense for me was more the story than Texas's offense, and the way that it was able to stymie Georgia's offense. They couldn't run the ball, couldn't really complete passes, harassed Jake Fromm, forced him into throwing one terrible interception, to which folks were looking at Kirby Smart going, throw Justin Fields in there. Maybe he can come back and win this for you, and if he comes back and wins it for you, perhaps he'll be the leader to start going into offseason and spring ball, and you can keep that guy on campus. Now, for folks that don't know, you got to know that with Justin Fields, the decision was already made. And him being on the sideline with his helmet on, apart from the team, apart from the scheme, apart from any of the meetings that were being had in between series, should have told you all you needed to know. That guy was out the door. And it would just been a bad look for him not to be at the Sugar Bowl. And then in the postgame, he wasn't made available. He left the locker room. He didn't participate in interviews. He was well and truly done with Georgia. What was still up for the speculation and debate was whether or not he'd be going to Ohio State, Oklahoma, and for some reason folks were throwing out there Florida State or Penn State. Now, Penn State made more sense because he was once committed to Penn State, decommitted, went to Georgia. But when he got to Georgia, he knew what he was walking into. He was walking into a situation where Jake Fromm is the number one, and he just unseated a dude to be the number one. And no matter what you think about Jake Fromm's skill set, he's gotten terrifically better as a sophomore. He was really good at analyzing coverages and at managing the game. Like, he was a better version of Greg McElroy for me, which is what you need at Georgia because the defense is going to be good. You're going to have this bevy of running backs to depend on, and you only need your wideouts to make some plays, not all the plays. So you weren't going to see too many 300-yard passing performances out of Jake Fromm because that's just not how they're built. They're built to run the ball, move the ball in a pro-style offense, and play defense. Now, Justin Fields going there felt like it was a bad move because he could have just followed up Trace McSorley this year, but maybe he just didn't want to sit, and he thought that he was good enough to start right away. Turns out he wasn't. He did play a lot, and they tried to make him happy, but that 4th and 11 where he was the up back and they called the play for him and they had a play on and Kirby said that Alabama sniffed it out. Whatever, it was a bad look for Justin Fields and he did not appreciate it. So yeah, he's transferring. Like, I think kids should transfer if they're not happy. Now, Oklahoma and Ohio State were the options. Oklahoma was in the mix because of what Oklahoma has done with transfer quarterbacks, Baker Mayfield and Kyler Murray. Both of those guys turned into Heisman winners. And we know that Lincoln Riley is a quarterback whisperer. We also know that his offense is the best in college football. So bring yourself, Justin Fields. We know what to do with a dual threat guy with your skill set and your physicality. 6'3", 225, can run like a deer and can throw a football over the mountains. So that made sense from a strategic standpoint. But when you come to find out that his quarterback coach, his private quarterback coach, is Quincy Avery, you know everything you need to know. Quincy Avery has ties to Ohio State. He coached Dwayne Haskins, who went to Ohio State and is probably going to be the first quarterback taken in the NFL draft. And he said as much as, look, if I had a kid, I would 100% want him to play for Ryan Day at Ohio State. And the next closest thing he has to a kid is Dwayne Haskins and Justin Fields. And then Justin Fields talked to Dwayne Haskins about playing for Ryan Day with Ryan Day. Now the question is, will he be immediately eligible as a player in 2019 for Ohio State? We don't really know. I would expect him not to be. I don't think he's going to be eligible. I think he's going to sit. So I don't think that Tate Martell, who is the heir apparent to being the quarterback at Ohio State, was speaking out of line. He said, I'm going to be the future of the position. I'm going to be the guy in 2019. And for those of you that don't watch Tate Martell, the dude has the goods and he fits into Ohio State's offense. He's a run and thrower, right? That's what he does. The way that Urban Meyer wanted to run the offense was the way that Tate Martell runs the offense. And Ryan Day basically bent the offense to Dwayne Haskins, who can't really move well, but he is an accurate passer, and that's where they've decided to put their money. And it worked for them for the most part. Now with Justin Fields, you back to two quarterbacks who can run and throw. Two guys that are a lot more like J.T. Barrett than Dwayne Haskins. And I think that's what they want at Ohio State, given what they have. And if they continue to recruit the way that they've been recruiting, they'll be okay. And Justin Fields can argue and have a competitive spring in 2020 about being the quarterback at Ohio State with Tate Martell. Anything could happen on that front. So I think that Justin Fields made the best decision for him. And I think it's going to work out for all parties involved because, it ain't like Dwan Mathis, who committed to Georgia and signed with Georgia, ain't going to be a pretty good quarterback. And he arrives as the number 2 on the depth chart. So Jake Fromm, if he gets hurt or something happens, Dwan Mathis is up. And I get that being the argument for Justin Fields, which is if you're going to sit another year, why not sit another year at Georgia? Because anything can happen. The dude could get hurt. The dude could go down. And you're next up. But I also don't necessarily think that this offense was built for him. I think promises were made to treat him like a quarterback and less of like a, wildcat quarterback who actually can throw a football. And if you're a quarterback and you're as highly touted as this guy and you pass 4,000 and you rush for 2,000 in your prep career, makes a lot of sense to go to a place like Ohio State in the first place. So I think that Justin Fields made the correct decision, and I'm looking forward to seeing him play at Ohio State. All right, that's it for me. Deuces.